Welcome into the LFC Transfer Room. I'm Jack, joined today by Matty, Jared, and Chedu. It's a late night stream if you're in the UK, mid-afternoon if you're over here on the East Coast time that I believe Jared and Chedu are on with me.
Yep.
Boys, there's been some pretty big news recently. Not good for Liverpool. But before we get into that, Matty, how are you doing this evening?
I was doing well till Fabrizio Romano ruined me night with his Mbappe news. Yeah.
The Mbappe news is what we're talking about. Jared, how you doing, my man?
I'm good, man. Semifinals tonight in my little league, but I'm focused. I'm present. I'm here right now.
Chedu? This is how you're feeling, right?
Yeah. It's funny because I think it was yesterday that someone, this one account said, "Oh yeah, Real Madrid haven't made a bid, but an English team has." And it was like, you know what? I don't want to get my hopes up, but I will because I hate myself. And then Fabrizio comes out today. Yeah, no English team has put a bid in. Real Madrid have though, and fuming.
So I'm going to read the tweet from Fabrizio Romano. Confirmed Real Madrid made a formal bid of 160 million euros to sign Kylian Mbappe immediately. No green light from PSG yet. Kylian Mbappe has turned down more than 3 different proposals from PSG to extend the contract. He's waiting to. So I'm stunned that a guy with 1 year left on his contract, who has rejected 3 contract offers, can have 160 million euros turned down. So I think that the question has to be asked before we ruin our night and don't talk about Mbappe anymore. Is Mbappe, 1 year left on his deal, worth 160 million euros?
Yes.
You think so?
Yes.
When you could wait 12 months on a free, try and gamble there. 160 million.
The big difference here is it depends on who you are. If you're Real Madrid, no, it probably isn't worth it paying 160 million now. If you're Liverpool, yes, or any other club, because Mbappe clearly wants Real Madrid. So if anyone that isn't Real Madrid wants him, they're gonna have to swoop in now for him. Waiting is just if they let him go on a free, he's gonna go to Real Madrid. Let's just be honest there.
So is it just Madrid? It's just a done deal? Yes. Is that how it feels for you, Jared?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I think the writing's been on the wall for a long time. We've heard about this move for years now. At this point, about how he idolized CR7 growing up. He had pictures all over his bedroom wall of CR7 and Madrid in general. I do think it is worth it commercially for them because of, the kit sales. His brand alone could be as big as a CR7 type figure in the future. It kind of already is. So, also, if you leave it up to a free transfer, while he might have wanted to come to Madrid for a long time, and if you leave it open and you let other clubs get into the race, you never know what could happen. I think. He could be wooed elsewhere. So I think it's worth it. It's obviously a ton of money, but they've been saving up for this sort of move. So,
yeah. I think we shouldn't look at the struggles that Barcelona are having and just throw that onto Madrid. Barcelona were spending 120% of their revenues on wages. Real Madrid, in comparison, is around, I think, 60%, which is a much, much healthier figure because then you have actually room to almost make a profit. So I think they could do it.
They actually made. I read an article. They turned a profit, I think, for 2020, the financial year.
Yeah, they're really well,
which is obviously like totally in contrast to Barca. Again, they're not just cash rich, like they're not just rolling in it, but they have been planning and saving for Mbappe from what I've read.
So Matty, Mbappe, you send us that meme, the 23 with Shaqiri going. He could LeBron. Is it over in your eyes?
I wouldn't say it's over. I certainly think if Mbappe was to look at both projects, Liverpool's a lot more exciting than Real Madrid. But then it is his boyhood dream to play for Real Madrid. I think he'd only come to Liverpool if it was the promise that if Real Madrid came in 2-3 years, we would sell him. But Fabrizio Romano said that Madrid's bid at 160 mil. So if that gets accepted, it's whether he wants to go and play for his boyhood club now when they're not too good, or maybe go in a few years when the project's more advanced.
I think that would it not be better to make them good again, be that guy that pushes them over the top.
But how many players have went to Real Madrid in recent years, though, who've been class and been awful there? Hazard, Courtois,
Yeah.
Odegaard's failed there. Gareth Bale has been, in my eyes, he's been decent there, but the fans regard him as a failure there. So
I think he would
Why would
probably.
you go
Who
there?
wears the 7 right now? The Ronaldo wore. You know.
Hazard,
Hazard, I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Hazard definitely hasn't lived up to that weight of that jersey, but he'd be in Ronaldo standards. I think he could live up to it. He's one of the greatest players. He's got to be one of the greatest players of this generation. And I think you made a good point, Matty, that Liverpool want to become a final destination for players, but maybe we're not the final destination for the Mbappes of the world. I don't know if we have.
No, I think we would be for world-class players, but I think with someone like Mbappe, I don't know, because I think all the pictures that's come out of Mbappe is being Ronaldo in the background. So he's a Ronaldo fan first and foremost, not a Madrid fan.
Yeah, because I wouldn't say that we're not like the final destination for any big world class player for either now or for the future. It's just Mbappe is like everyone knows that ever since he was a kid, the only thing he wanted was to play for Real Madrid, and having Ronaldo as his idol growing up. Realistically, it doesn't matter which club came in or how much money they would be willing to offer. As long as Real Madrid wanted him, he's always going to go for them. Like, honestly, Okay, I'm just going to look past that comment.
Man, he just got in your head. He got in your head. Finish your point.
Yeah, and I got to go back to it. I got lost. But essentially... No, yeah, I fully got lost.
All right, I'm gonna bring it.
Chris,
that was so funny. You just stopped talking. I thought my connection had cut out. It's just because he's seen the comment from Chris. By the way, some context on that. If you're Jared, probably doesn't know what we're talking about.
No.
If you haven't seen it, draft video on the channel. We did a 18-round draft, maybe a bit longer, a bit shorter, of Liverpool players trying the best team. Chedu came in last. That was a bit funny.
No, I but okay. No,
Chris is always trolling in the chat. Always.
Matty, we'll be back with us in a second. I'm going to drop him out for a moment. So I think that this is an interesting thing. Madrid, like with some other players, I looked it up. They've actually sold $85 million. I don't know the actual conversion, but I have it in American dollars. $85 million of players. That includes the wages of Odegaard, of Varane, and of Ramos. So they have done a good job of offloading quite a bit.
I mean, the last 3 years has been just offloading and no incomings, because I mean, I think we've all known that the reason behind that was they were preparing themselves for that big Mbappe bid and how much they would have to pay in fees. I mean, in wages.
It does seem like this is they've gotten the money from Odegaard, Varane, and the loss of wages of Ramos, so the clearing of wages of Ramos. They're in a good spot, and they aren't strong. No one's strong financially, but I don't think they have the issues that people seem to claim they do.
100%.
I want to take this away from Madrid PSG perspective into a Liverpool perspective. There are two comments that I really like. So PSG sell for a huge amount of money, and they go for Salah. Is this something you guys are concerned about?
No. Ronaldo's on the market, isn't he? I think if they're going for anyone, they're going for Ronaldo.
That's the first one. Ronaldo's in the market. And the second one, I can't see Salah leaving Liverpool. I think he loves the club too much just to go away for the money, especially since we're planning to give him a new contract. I just can't really see it. And so I'm going to pull this comment right here. Messi was Mbappe replacement. It never was. It never was the Mbappe replacement, because they clearly want to keep Mbappe and have him play alongside Neymar and Messi. It's just, which kind of backfired on them, because I feel like signing Messi pushed Mbappe away from signing even more, because, now Messi's the face of the Liga, and he's the face of PSG, the highest earner, the one that's going to sell the most shirts and all of that.
I would add as well, I think positionally, I don't think Salah would fit in at PSG, because he plays obviously on the right-hand side, and Messi, technically starts on the right-hand side. He kind of roams wherever he wants, but also Di Maria plays out there. So I don't think it would even make sense for Salah to go. Obviously, Mbappe is more of a central player, but also plays on the left. So I'm not too worried about that. And obviously, we're probably going to give him a new contract within the next few days or weeks. So
Yeah.
I think this actually went from Anthony. Which one's better, Salah or Mbappe? I think Salah.
Right now, Salah.
right now,
but
Salah, yeah.
Mbappe's potential, of course.
Yeah, and so I don't know if you guys mentioned it. Indy Kyla, the breaking news that PSG's number one choice is Mohamed Salah. Now,
Oh wow.
I'll put it in the words of Chris. I won't read it out loud, but this is how I feel about this as a source.
Listen, Indy is not a reliable source at all, but I think I do wholeheartedly believe that their replacement for Mbappe is Salah. I genuinely think that that's the one, but it's just not going to happen. I can't see that happening.
What about this? This is what I've always thought.
I'd do it.
If we was to get Salah, I've always thought if we was to get Mbappe, it's only if Salah or Mane was to leave.
Yeah.
Now if one of them was to be a swap deal,
I would do that. One of them for 100%.
You would sell Salah for Mbappe.
Yep. Yes, Salah's the better player right now, but looking towards the future, Mbappe, he's gonna be like he's world class right now, and he's gonna keep being at that level, if not higher, for the next decade or so. So yes, it's definitely worth it to sell. Listen, I love Salah. I think he's the best player in the Premier League, hands down. But if we're looking towards the future, and it's what Klopp is doing right now, signing Jota, keeping Harvey, giving time to Kurtis, bringing Konate in, he's preparing that next big Liverpool team for when he leaves and the next manager comes in.
Yeah, but I don't think you move Salah on for that, in my opinion.
He wouldn't. He would not do that. But I wouldn't be mad if it happened. I would rather see Mane off for Mbappe.
They just wouldn't do that.
No, they 100% wouldn't do that. No.
So I think the question then you ask is, it seems like Mbappe and Salah being in the same team is almost mutually exclusive. So let's get
I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna say something, and I don't know if you guys can agree can or will agree with me on this, but I think Mbappe and Salah is almost it's as good or better than Mbappe and Messi.
Mbappe and Salah.
That's a tough
no.
one, Chedu.
I think that Messi's better. Messi doesn't
individually. Yes, 100%. He's better than both.
But Messi is a better team player than Salah is as well.
Well, yeah, I think there's too much overlap. Like Mbappe and Salah, they rely too much on good service, and not that Salah doesn't create and Mbappe doesn't create, but like Messi is such a creative talent, and he drops into midfield and links up play. So I think it's just he fits better probably with them as finishers and strikers.
I'm really intrigued for the game this weekend to see how he's gonna get up with PSG. I think it's gonna be quite interesting because it's I don't know how Pochettino is gonna play it, because of course at Barcelona, Messi was the target man. Like everyone, it was play to Messi and hope Messi can do something with it. Now he has Mbappe has, for now, Neymar. He's got really, really good players around him that have been doing it for quite a while. So it's going to be interesting how it's going to work.
Can we just dismiss Ronaldo flat out? He's
it's not going to happen.
No, his ties with United.
No.
Yeah, I don't think
rumors. There is rumors I have seen today that he wants to go to City, which would be very interesting.
What's funny is City don't want him. Like that meme where it's like that one guy who's like, "Who want me?" And then it's like, "No,
no."
That's Ronaldo right now.
It had that Nemo was retweeting it as well, and he's quite reliable for Italian news. That's what made it look quite realistic, which would be mad if he ever was to go there. That would be crazy.
That would be insane.
Yeah, look,
I think he'd get like 30 goals in the City side. Like he's exactly what they would need. Similar to a Kane, but like his ability in the air and just his athleticism and like on the end of like De Bruyne crosses, it would just be sickening.
Yes, everyone go subscribe to the channel. Matty, who is deathly opposed to watch alongs, will be doing one at 2,500 subscribers. So
I
make
just
sure you
want to touch on
subscribe.
something here. This
Hold
one
up.
here. Personally, I don't think Mbappe fits the LFC criteria, and bringing in a superstar would upset the balance and harmony in the squad.
I agree. I
I
agree. 100%.
I'm gonna disagree because of this right here, which is we've not been a one-man team since Suarez. I don't think Mbappe coming in makes us a one-man team.
Oh, it does. It does.
No, it doesn't.
He's commercially bigger than Liverpool, pretty much. Not pretty much. He's
commercially
close.
wise, yes, but on the pitch, as a game, tactics, all that, it's not a one-man team.
It wouldn't be a one-man team, but the ego is what we're talking about here.
Oh, ego-wise, yeah, probably.
He would fit in the team, but I think that Mbappe. Look at all of our signings the last few years. You know, everyone has impeccable personalities and attitude. It's almost as important that as it is their football ability. Like Thiago, one of our best signings. Maybe look at him as like a guy who could have an ego. He's one of the nicest dudes ever. He's fit in perfectly with the side, with the city. And Matty, you probably speak to this better than I could, but I'm sure Liverpool fans in the city love Thiago because he as a person, beyond just as a player. So that's what
I think with the city as well, it's just whoever comes, they get so much like love off the city. Anyway, it doesn't matter what player it is, they always get love. Like Kostas at the minute's getting loads of love, rightfully so. But I don't know what they do day to day, but I'm just saying from like when you hear people speaking, any player just gets the utmost respect, really.
Yeah. This may be a bit controversial. It will be controversial. I think that Jarrod Bowen makes more sense with Liverpool than Mbappe does.
Oh, yeah.
Makes more sense because
can I mute Jack? Can I just mute Jack?
No, let me fully enunciate my point. I'm not saying Bowen is any more close to Mbappe as a player, but what Bowen would allow us to do is not have to sell Mane or Salah, which I don't want to do. Doesn't make sense really. He'd come in, help us with the non-homegrown requirement, and he wouldn't cost an arm and a leg. You know, we would not upset the squad's harmony or balance by signing Bowen. Now, would I prefer Mbappe? 100%. But I think that Bowen makes more sense.
This Bowen agenda just needs to end, honestly. Like, let's get Doku. Let's just get Jeremy Doku. Okay.
That's exactly what I was thinking, Chedu. Like,
I think that's going to happen. I generally want that to happen. But yeah.
Here's why I don't want Doku is because Doku cannot do what Jota did, which is walk in and be decent off the bench because he needs a lot more time. He's so much more raw than Bowen is. He can't develop here, you know? But Doku would be assign him, loan him out for a year or two. And then
do we need to do that though?
He's not ready to start for us. Just fundamentally, he's not ready. And so signing him would be a waste.
Signing Jarrod Bowen would be a waste because he is not an improvement on anyone in that start.
Is he better than Shaqiri, yes or no?
No.
That's debatable. Yeah, that is debatable. I think.
Shaqiri got us to a Champions League.
So Jared, you're saying that Shaqiri is better than
I mean, I
rate Shaqiri.
Jarrod Bowen's younger, right? And he's still emerging. I would say Shaqiri's on kind of at the tail end of his like peak, probably. But I think Shaqiri has like a creative talent. What he does for Switzerland, I think he's a really great player. And on his day, I think he's a big match player. He's very fearless. He's not like afraid of like the Manchester United match where he had the brace. Obviously, the Barcelona comeback where he had the assist off the bench. Could Bowen be more effective for us? Yeah, definitely. And does he have more potential now? Yeah. And I do think Shaqiri never really he just never fit in fully with us in terms of getting lots of consistent minutes. But he's a talent. He's a true talent, I think.
Look, you can't look at me and say that Mbappe makes more sense considering what we'd have to lose to bring him in.
We wouldn't have to lose anything though, because financially Liverpool would be able to sell him for 300 million in a few years. It's not realistic, Mbappe, but with Jarrod Bowen, right? We've seen it so many times with players. He's a big fish in a small pond. Now, if he comes to a big team, look at Benteke when he came to Liverpool. He was a flop, but he was unbelievable at Aston Villa.
Look at Jota.
Jota wasn't the big fish in the Wolves team. Though.
I would argue Bowen
was under the radar.
Bowen went under the radar behind Antonio. And behind Ben
but Antonio's always hit and miss. Bowen's actually consistent for West Ham, but can he come and then do that for a team where if West Ham get beat, it's not the end of the world. If he gets beat at Liverpool, it is the end of the world. It's a different kettle of fish.
I think that look, Mbappe would mean we lose Salah or Mane, and it would be Salah. So by saying you want Mbappe, you are admitting the loss of Salah, in my eyes at least. Because Matty, you mentioned we can sell him down the road. I don't think that makes sense because we want to be the final destination. No, we don't want to be still a selling club.
I strongly believe that if Kylian Mbappe came to Liverpool, he'd fall in love with it. Every single player that came to this city has fell in love with the club.
I agree, and I agree with you. But where are you getting the 160 million euros to sign Mbappe without losing Salah?
FSG aren't skint, Jack. They really.
I know they're not skins.
If FSG want to sign Mbappe, they're gonna put up the money. But the problem is they won't.
We've seen it before with FSG when there has been a player that Klopp has really wanted. They have spent money to get.
No.
Van Dijk.
Hey, Chedu, stop interrupting Matty and let him finish his point, and then shave your eyebrows when we're done. All right, Matty, go ahead.
But when Liverpool have needed the answer, they've went and spent big money before. Now, I'm not saying Mbappe probably is the long-term answer to that front three. You then build a front three around Mbappe. All three of our current front three are like 28, 29. So you bring Mbappe in this summer, then you then build your team around them for the next 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, I think that it's an interesting debate. Bowen versus Mbappe, the historic duo between the Frenchman.
It shouldn't even be in a debate.
They shouldn't be in the
Jarrod Bowen's names in. Yeah, they were the same.
Yeah, they shouldn't be mentioned together, Jack.
I think Jack's point was they're very different signings. Like a Jarrod Bowen wouldn't upset the chemistry of the team as much. He would be more of a rotation player, a backup. Whereas like Mbappe completely changes the dynamic of the entire club, the ego, the wages. I think that's more of Jack's point. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Are we 160 million euros here, though? We're not.
With what Red Knight's saying here, Liverpool get is a 20% of every shirt sale, and the fan base will go into overdrive. Everyone in France will go and buy a Liverpool Nike shirt with Mbappe on the back.
Not only that, it's just
and then you've got every country in the world.
Not only that, just whenever he moves on if he joins, whenever he moves on, the amount of money we'd make would be profit from whatever we have to pay right now for him. So realistically, if you're FSG, makes sense to put up the money now, looking at how much you're going to get in sales, how much he'll improve the team, and how much we could sell for him after he leaves.
But you can't look at that now. When we signed Salah, when we signed Mbappe, when we signed Van Dijk, these signings were never made with the objective of, we can make money in the future.
Of course, it's never been that, but it's just
I think it's his age. He's still so young.
Too, yeah. It's the amount of potential that he has for his age, and as good as he is right now. This
is going to be surely to increase my my love for my football takes. How much more can Mbappe actually improve?
Massively.
A lot more.
In what aspects of his game can he improve upon?
Every single aspect. He's one of the best football. He is generational.
I agree. He could be generational, but
could be. He is.
I think he could transform his physique like the way CR7 did. Yeah. From like, I don't know, early 20s to mid to late 20s. Like Mbappe, he's in great shape, but he could get maybe a bit stronger. Just focus on like the little details that take a top level athlete like that over the top, in my opinion.
Yep.
Again, I maintain my point. Jarrod Bowen is better than him. I'm just kidding. But
you aren't kidding. That's the
let's so if Mbappe, okay. All right, let's give some percentage chances on Mbappe because at the end of the day, I think that it looks like he's going to Madrid. They've been selling players, not signing anybody when they need to sign players because they probably want Mbappe. He's not signed a new contract. We just don't have much money. Odds Mbappe is at Liverpool in his career.
Ever.
Chedu.
15% chances.
15%.
Nope.
10%. Matty, what's the percent chance? Any point in his career?
I reckon 50-50. He could go to Real Madrid now and think it's not a good project for him and then come to Liverpool. I don't know because his dreams to play for Real Madrid he's ready now to play for Real Madrid, but the Real Madrid team is not worthy of Kylian Mbappe at the minute. So I don't know.
They're second in the league last year, right?
Yeah, but they drew 3-3 with the Levante at the weekend. It's Real
Yeah.
Madrid. That's all.
Listen, I'm really gonna say something. You may think it's controversial or anything, but La Liga is a bad Barcelona, a bad Real Madrid. They can easily get top 4 in La Liga right now.
Yeah.
And in La Liga last season. It's not that it's like, oh, they still got second, even if they're quote unquote bad. They are bad. The way they've been recently, the players that have gone, the players that have come in and haven't performed, it's not good. They still get top because it's La Liga.
I mean, I think the
where's Real
level.
Madrid on the? Does
Go
anyone
ahead.
know where Real Madrid are on the wage cap? Where Barcelona were so.
So
why they couldn't.
You can't be past 75%. Madrid wasn't even at that before losing the wages of Varane and Ramos. And so they have plenty of room to go to grow into that. And you think about the revenues. It's not a case of like there's a fixed salary cap like in America where you can only spend $100 or whatever on wages. And if you pass that, even if you make a ton of money and you still pass it, if they make a bunch of money by signing Mbappe, that percentage difference, if you know what I'm saying, goes down.
Yeah.
So, Mbappe or Jared, your percentage.
Yeah, Jared was gonna say something. That's what I was gonna say.
Well, about Madrid, I do think La Liga has weakened, but I still think Madrid are a force. I mean, they signed David Alaba, who's an incredible center back. He can play left back. Epitomized like the modern day center back, I would say. Like good on the ball. Hazard obviously has been a huge flop so far. If he can get going, Gareth Bale's back. I think I heard today he had 16 goals in all comps last season with Tottenham. So, and he scored at the weekend. So I mean, they're still a very good club, I would say. And I think a signing like Mbappe is the type of signing that could put them over the line in La Liga because Barcelona's they're weaker. Atleti is very good, but not like they're not going to blow teams out of the water each week in, week out. So I think Atleti are favorites as of now, but like an Mbappe signing could change that. But I would, for the percentage, I don't know. I would say somewhere between like 10 to 20% for Mbappe ending up with us. I saw Chris say in the comments it's not really the type of signing we make. I would have to agree with that.
I'm gonna raise some up.
But it is
because
FSG's model is to buy players who have got a resale value.
But
there's nobody's got a bigger resale value.
I want to say something.
Sure.
And
I think it would make sense financially, commercially, 100%.
Yeah, at 100%. Because I think someone put it somewhere over here, and it's here we go. FSU will look at it from a business investment. Look at Ronaldo moves and the money generated for the clubs he has been to. They will, if they do decide to put that money up, it's gonna be they're gonna look at it that way. They're gonna look at it as an investment. The amount of money that they're gonna gain from buying, even if it's 160. But
you have to.
I've seen a lot of people say in the comments, Mbappe doesn't fit at Liverpool, but Haaland does. I'd personally take Haaland over Mbappe.
I wouldn't. But look, Chedu, you can't look at it as Mbappe makes you money when you would be losing Salah. You lose the Egyptian market and you gain the French market. So really, commercially, are you going up because you're getting all these new customers when you're losing a huge section of your fan base, which is the Mo Salah fan club?
First off, I'm not. Listen, I do say that. Yes, I would take Salah for Mbappe, but ideally, I'd say Mane for Mbappe, and that's something that I'm.
But I would take Divock Origi for Mbappe.
I mean, of course, but that doesn't make sense. Mane for Mbappe makes sense as well.
Yeah, it makes about. It does not fill the gap anywhere near as close as this one Salah does. So I think that I don't know. There's a ton of ways to look at this Mbappe thing. I just think that it's unrealistic. It's not an FSG signing because you say resale value, Matty. There's no resale value at 160 million euros if that's the floor. Will he go for more in 3-4 years? Maybe, but that's a really tough figure to ask for again.
That's not. When Neymar went for close to 100 million to Barca. That was all dodgy and that, like, and then he went for over 200 million to PSG. Mbappe is only, what, 22, 23. In 3-4 years, he's nowhere near his peak. He's got like 6 years till he hits his peak. So Mbappe at his peak could probably go for, he's probably unsellable. He's probably like Messi when he's in his peak, where you could never have bought Messi when he was 28. Once Mbappe reaches 28, wherever he's at, if you want Mbappe at that age, you're paying 400 million for him.
The only reason why Mbappe isn't going right now for 200 or 250 million is because he has 1 year left in his contract. If not, he'd be going for one of those. Imagine 5 years down the line when he's even better, like 250 to 300 million, like someone just said.
And you can't say this, Chris, because every player could get injured.
Yeah, if you're gonna say that, anytime we're gonna sign someone, what if they get injured?
There's always risk. Every signing you make, a player, it's like an FM. Where like
I do agree with this comment though, Jack.
Go for it.
I think Haaland's more doable than Mbappe.
I mean, I think he is because he has the release clause next summer.
Yeah.
There's nowhere else for him to go, really.
Yeah. I mean, Bayern, United, I think makes sense for Haaland more than anything because of his connection with and Mbappe or Haaland. I'm Mbappe.
Haaland.
Jared.
Oh, it's so tough. I mean, they're slightly different, you know. If we want more of like a creative winger, or someone who can be deployed out wide like Mbappe, someone who's a bit more, has more flair, more skilled on the ball, Mbappe. But if you want like a pure clinical beast of a number 9 that's just going to finish literally every ball that's in his path, then I'd say Haaland. So it really depends, I think, how the squad, like who we would lose to sign one of them. I can't really decide. I know it's a bad answer.
Who would you take?
Oh man, if I had to build a team around one of them, like from scratch,
for this Liverpool team, you would tailor the next 5 years around one of those two guys.
I think Haaland's more of a Klopp player because of his physicality. His like he would press like a monster, and he kind of slots right into that number 9 role. Whereas Mbappe might want to go out on the left more and things like that. That's tough though. I'd say Haaland.
Yeah.
So
Sorry, real quick on the Haaland, his dad. What's the backstory on that? With
his
Haaland?
dad played for Man City,
and he got injured by I think Roy Keane, like in a really brutal fashion.
Yeah, he'd never. I don't think he'd ever go to.
But
his dad. But Jack's dad's like a Leeds legend, and Leeds and United have got the same hatred as Liverpool and United. I can't see Haaland never going.
I don't think he'd go to United.
I want to. Yeah, but it still influences.
United would offer him 500 grand a week and a 20 million euro signing bonus.
I don't think he'd go and play for United. Like,
honestly,
that rivalry's bad, Jack. Leeds United is a fiery rivalry.
But it's not like he played for them. His dad did. I think we're saying
it's still influenced.
His dad played for City as well.
But it's still dad. Still his dad.
But yeah,
would ever play for Everton or
if Everton offered him twice as much as Liverpool?
No.
Okay.
Jack, you have listen.
What costs more, the lost earnings for Mr. Haaland's career, or the extra 10 million euros he personally would get by signing for Man United?
It's not all about money. It's not all about money.
And why would United be the top paying club? I think they would be in the middle of the pack.
The case either.
His relationship with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, they need a striker. I'd be stunned if he doesn't go.
Listen.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is not going to be at Manchester United in 2-3 years.
That's very true.
I think he will be.
I hope he still is.
Why would he go?
Well, I hope so for us.
Everyone went in for him. Why would he go to United with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer when he could probably go to City with Pep?
Because he has a relationship with Solskjaer.
For more money. If you're talking about money, City will...
But guys, you can't look at his dad's hurt feelings and say that matters, and not look at him playing under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and his great relationship and say that does not matter. That matters far more than his dad's hurt.
If Haaland comes to England, that's one club I could firmly say I don't think he'd go to United. City, maybe. Liverpool, maybe.
I generally think that if he comes to England, he's just gonna be Liverpool. And I'd happily, listen. I think we can all agree that Mbappe is by far the better player, but goal scoring wise, Haaland is definitely better. And I take Haaland, and gonna go for the way things are changing. I would get Haaland, and of course, not. I wouldn't play him as the Bobby false 9 role. I play him like as a pure 9, maybe in a 4-2-3-1, and play Bobby as an attacking midfielder with Thiago and Fabinho as the 2 pivots. But having like I know last season was ridden with injuries, but it's been the same thing for us throughout these past few seasons, where at times we don't get the win because we just don't score goals. Like, we create all of the chances, but we never put them into the back of the net. Someone like Haaland.
I think that was just last season though, because of all the injuries.
But Chedu,
that affects the entire squad.
The only barometer of winning or losing a match is goals. If you don't score goals, you're not going to win very often.
I think for this Liverpool side. Go on, Chedu.
Yeah, no, Chedu. What he's saying is, you said Mbappe was better.
Yes, I agree that Mbappe as a player is better, but Haaland as a goal scorer is by far the better player. And looking at the team, I think a Haaland is what we need more than an Mbappe.
I agree. Because think of Haaland on the end of Trent and Robbo's crosses. It makes more sense. And then let's not shy away from the fact that Liverpool's absolutely massive in Norway. Huge. There's probably chances that Mbappe... I mean, there's rumours he grew up as a Leeds fan because that's where he was born when his dad was at Leeds. But there's chances he grew up watching Liverpool games. We are huge in Norway. That makes a financial sense as well as Mbappe. So, but I think Haaland's more doable just because of the price tag.
Elsewhere, Sepp Vandenberg has scored his first professional goal. Congratulations to him.
Very nice.
He'll be
another player who's never going to make it at Liverpool, and we should.
I think he will. Honestly, he's like 18, 19.
No.
Billy Cometio's above him. Reece Williams is above him.
I don't think you can look at those guys at that age and say they're above them as center backs and as young players. I think that they're
all the same age, though. You're comparing the same age players to him, so they're above him in the pecking order.
Look where Van Dijk was at that age. It's impossible to gauge development based on where they're at.
Nah, he's not going to make it to this.
I'm not going to say that. Okay. We've been talking about Mbappe and Haaland a lot, but we can all agree that those are very unlikely, at least right now. Are there any players out there that you would think anywhere positional in the squad that with Shaqiri going, there's a non-homegrown spot open, so you can look at an English player or a foreign-based player in a realistic price range? What are you hoping for in the last week of the window, Chedu?
One of 2 things. One of 3 things.
No, you only get one thing, Chedu. You only get one thing.
Let me people.
No, you get one thing.
If anything, because I see, I think even with Shaqiri gone, I think Harvey is going to be played as a midfielder all the time. I think even though he is Shaqiri's replacement, I think the club prefers to play him in midfield. So I'll say Doku. If not, I would have said Kamavinga. But it really depends on whether Elliott is going to be more up top or midfield.
Both those are stinky choices, Chedu. I'm kidding. They'd be great.
That's the one that says I want Bowen over Mbappe.
I would take Bowen over Doku. But those would both be great signings. Matty, who's got your eye? I know you're a big Gravenberch fan. Is he the kind of guy that you're interested in?
I've seen some of the comments here. There's some boss names like Basuma. I'd love him, but he plays a deeper role, and Fabinho's there. Yeah. I'd love Doku. If we could get Gravenberch, we should be all over it, even ahead of Saul, because Gravenberch is going to be another generational player. Yeah. But I do think we need an attacker more than anything. If we have only got one choice, I think we do need another attacker. Or if that means wait for Haaland next year and then bring in a midfielder, then my number one choice would be Gravenberch, to be honest.
Are you looking at midfielders or forwards, Jared?
It's hard. I think with the emergence of Harvey, I think he plays more as like a 10 realistically, or like as a winger. He's not like an 8 or like a box to box midfielder. Not that he can't defend or put in the hard yards, but so I see him as more of an attacker. And his emergence, we have Ox back from injury, Jota giving Firmino more rest and vice versa. I think Firmino will start some matches. I think we need more a Genie replacement than anything. Just for like the engine of the team, like who's gonna who's going to put in those hard yards and kind of do what Henderson does in a sense and what Genie did so well for us. We saw Genie in the Dutch side. He gets forward and he scores a lot, but Klopp asked him to have more of a defensive kind of hardworking role and to get less of the glory. So I think we need a player like that. I think Gravenberch would be incredible. I agree with Matty. He looks incredible. You know, Bellingham would be my choice, maybe even above Mbappe or Haaland. Honestly, like I'm just obsessed with him. But that's going to be, you know, a massive fee. So someone like Gravenberch would be great. But then we have Keita as well, who seems to be doing well, and hopefully he can stay fit. So, yeah, it's hard to say.
I'll post up really quick. This is my problem with Doku, real quick, Matty. Is I don't think he adds to our team now, which is why I don't see that. Bowen does.
No.
Bowen does.
No.
Okay. Hey.
I just want to go back to Jared's point about Bellingham. I do think we will get Bellingham next summer. I really, really do. I think he's called Jude for a reason, in my opinion.
Let's do some visual learning here, okay? Continue talking, Matty.
I really do think Bellingham's doable though. Like next summer, he might have a mad fee, but he also could have a clause in his contract like Haaland does, and I think it's written in the stars for Bellingham to come to Liverpool. I think they're huge fans of Liverpool secretly. His mum and dad definitely are fans of the Beatles, so.
I don't know why I feel so confident of Bellingham coming to Liverpool at some point.
Yeah, and he adores Henderson, and he grew up.
Yeah, him and Henderson are friends.
It's just he idolized Gerrard growing up. Like he's been in that school pitch screaming Gerrard when he's been hitting balls. He has.
Let's visualize my problem with project signings versus backup signings. Right. So this is the potential. The length of the bar is the potential. And how much it's filled in is how good they are right now. Bowen is better than Doku right now. I don't care what you're saying. He's better than him because he's 4 years older.
Ratioed.
And
by 3 people.
Yeah, by 3 people. So if you want to sign him for this portion, that's justified. But I don't think we can afford to do that right now. That's my argument.
No, but if Doku is Liverpool's front three strong enough now to go and win games?
Yes, it is.
And Bobby coming in. So if Doku came in, I'd much rather us go and spend 40 million on Doku and then maybe have 6 months like Robbo did before we see him. And then in 2-3 years' time, he is 3-4 times the player that Jarrod Bowen is. Then go and spend the same money on Jarrod Bowen, who's a sideward step from Origi.
Look, if you want to block the channel because you think Doku's better than Bowen, go for it, buddy. Like it's
Doku is better than Bowen.
I don't think it's controversial.
I would take Doku too. Because we don't need someone to start matches.
I'm not saying take. I'm saying which player would I take? I'd take Doku, but it's not in a vacuum. Which player would win more one-on-ones? Which player could develop to be a better player? If we want to win trophies now, in the next few years, Doku's development cannot happen at the level. Look, you want Doku to get to this level, he needs more game time than he'll get at Liverpool. Fundamentally, he can't do that on the bench.
But we've seen Klopp has put like to Trent, Curtis Jones.
So he's gonna drop Mane for Doku?
No, but in games against your likes of your Norwiches and stuff is where you'd give Doku minutes. I'm not saying bring Doku against Manchester City. I'm saying bring Jeremy Doku in and play him against your likes of your Burnleys, your Norwiches, your Brentfords. That's where Jeremy Doku would get minutes. And then on the training pitch, he's learning from the likes of Salah, Mane, Firmino, Jota. He's taking bits from every player to improve his game. Right now, Jeremy Doku, he's not going to play every week. But if he comes to Liverpool, he's going to become twice a better player than he will be staying where he is.
No.
He's training with better players, Jeff.
I disagree with that. Look, let's look at Liverpool's backup forward options. Xherdan Shaqiri, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Ben Woodburn, Divock Origi, and Diogo Jota last season in their minutes they got. Minamino as well. Minamino got 9 games, 293 minutes. Shaqiri got 14 games, 556 minutes. Ox got 13 games, 200 minutes. And Origi got 9 games, 186 minutes. And Jota getting 19 games, 1.1 game minutes.
We would probably rotate the team more if we didn't have so many injuries at the back. It's too risky to rotate any more of the team when you're playing centre midfielders at centre half.
So let's go our title winning season. Let's look at how our forwards played. As a matter of fact, they played a bit more. You're correct. Oxlade had 1.4K minutes. Shaqiri had less, 185. Minamino had less, 240. And Origi had marginally more, 715. They didn't rotate in our title-winning year. So why would they rotate this season?
Because they've got to rotate because we've got 4 players anyway in the attack.
So why would you bring in Doku as a rotation option?
So,
when he's not ready to do
because
that?
like what this comment said up here, where it says I can't find. Oh, wait, this one. If you wait another year for Jeremy Doku, chances are he's double in price, and Liverpool won't buy him.
Of course.
So it makes more sense to buy him now.
Okay, but here's the issue, though, right? He won't double in that same price if we sign him, because he won't develop the same way. Because he needs the game time to develop at the age of, how old is Doku? Is he 19 or is he 20?
19 or 20.
Jeremy Doku is 19 years old, turned it in May. Dude is literally a baby 19. Like, he's younger than me.
Yeah, but this is exactly what I'm saying, what Andy Robertson's saying here, that he's going to come in and learn from who's there. So, he's not going to get as many minutes now as he is where he is in France. However, he's going to be learning from world-class players, Champions League winning athletes, Premier League winning athletes. He's not getting that where he is. So, he's 100% going to improve coming into this team. Look at Andy Robertson. Look how much he's improved. He got relegated with Hull. We got him on a free transfer, basically, because we sold Kevin Stewart for the same amount of money. 6 months he had behind the scenes, and now he's the best left back in the world. Why can't Jeremy Doku be the same? Just because he's 19, you're ruling it out.
I agree with Matty, and I think I don't think he's not ready to be a rotation player necessarily for us. I mean, I know he's young, but and also you shouldn't get wrapped up in one tournament performance. But at the Euros, he was incredible, and almost like at times putting Belgium on his back, and that's pretty impressive for such a young kid. So I think as a rotation player, learning from Mane, learning from Salah, learning from Klopp, I think it could be a great signing. I would take him over both.
I'm not arguing that he can't improve. And if Alex, this is what you're hearing, you need to get your hearing checked, my guy, because I'm not arguing. Look at our team. Harvey Elliott started the last match. Trent plays at right back. We develop young players, but Doku does not make sense for the role we need him to play. Shaqiri was ready to come off the bench.
But what role do we need anyone
to
play?
I'm gonna touch on this real quick, and it's the last thing I'm gonna say because I do have to go. And it's gonna be that I don't really like. Listen, I do understand that your point is that he does not have what it takes to be that rotational player that we need.
Yeah,
but he is, and I know that in a way, at the same time, and you're because you brought age into the debate. It's at this day and age, I think age does not matter anymore in terms of football. For those early players, we have the likes of Haaland, Mbappe, Camavinga. We got De Jong when he first came out, broke out with Ajax, or however you pronounce it. And all of these players, thank you, and all of these young players that at this point, it's like even younger players can be more than good enough. And I think Doku has what it takes. Jared said it for Belgium. At times, he was carrying the team on his back. Like, yes, probably he's definitely not good enough to bench Mane at all. But he definitely is good enough to be.
But he's not good enough though. I disagree.
He has got it to be that player that you brush Shaqiri as an example. He is that good.
Is he good enough to do this? Yeah.
No.
Yes.
That's what we need.
Yes.
Yeah, he is.
I think he
is.
He's just
and in answer to Jarrod Bowen or Doku, why would Jarrod Bowen leave West Ham who are playing in European football this season?
I'm not arguing about fit. I'm arguing about what we need. I don't know what the player should do.
What we need is someone to come on and make an impact. Jarrod Bowen's not going to go from starting every week with West Ham, playing in Europe with West Ham, to coming on the 60th minute for Liverpool. Jeremy Doku's 19. It's more realistic to expect him to come in and learn from the front three and come on in the 60th minute and make an impact. And that is what Jeremy Doku could do.
What players have we signed at that age bracket? 18, 19 years old. Someone besides, so we have Harvey Elliott, really young. Who else have we signed at 18, 19 years old? Really kind of burgeoning in their career. I want someone to compare our development plan to, because you say you want to do Foden-esque, but you already got Elliott you're doing that with. You got Jones you're doing that with.
Yeah, but if you wait another few years with Doku, you're paying 70, 80 million for.
Maybe Doku isn't the guy in that instance, because Here's how I view it, right? And I get if you prefer Doku to Bowen. I prefer that's a good one. No, Sterling was younger than that when he signed it, was it not?
16.
He signed Sterling at 16, yeah.
Yeah,
but
so that one
16,
was different
17.
because
And Foden came through the academy at City, if I'm not mistaken. So that's a little different as well.
Raheem Sterling was signed by Liverpool he was at 16 years old. That one's just not even comparable. I'll look at Joe Gomez.
All right, family. I know you all love to see my face, but I do have to go. So
All right,
I just want to leave you guys with something to think about while I'm gone. Don't listen to Jack. He's gone. He's a secret City fan. Good.
Within the if you look at if Joe Gomez is your base point, Gomez played 5 matches before the age of 20. And in the first 2 seasons he was there, he played 5 games. There was no reliance on him to develop immediately.
Yeah, but there's no reliance on Doku to develop immediately.
Yes, there is.
Where's the reliance? Liverpool are looking sharp.
This is the reliance.
At this present moment in time, we're 3 points ahead of Manchester City, 2 points ahead of Manchester United, and we're going to be 3 points ahead of Chelsea on the weekend. So, do Liverpool do we desperately need a striker? No. All four of our attackers have scored already this season in the second game. All 4 of them. Are we in desperate need of an attacker? No. Is Doku? I know it's only 2 games, but Liverpool are going to win the league. That's another point. But Liverpool do not with Doku. He is what we need right now.
Look,
it's not like we need. If we aren't going to go and get Mbappe, we don't need.
I'm going to give you some cool hard facts. Okay, Bowen is more realistic than Doku. Hate that all you want. He's more realistic.
He's not though.
And I'll tell you why. Okay.
If Bowen was coming, we would have bought him because we didn't need a homegrown spot. We wouldn't leave it the last week of the window to buy him.
Bowen's more likely than Doku, anyways. Let me tell you why. Because all of our signing. Because who would Doku or Bowen be replacing? Shaqiri in a off the bench, need someone to perform in a tight match role or in rotationary matches. I don't think Doku can do that as well as Bowen could. And I'll compare Bowen to Jota. Very similar numbers, very similar outputs, very similar play styles as well, where not a sexy signing in the slightest. But what he has every attribute required to be a forward for Liverpool. And what he would be able to do is that he's had over 150 league appearances at the age of 24. So he's got the minutes under his belt, and his development, I erased it, but his potential is less than Doku's. But the reason why I think we would sign Bowen over Doku, and why I would prefer it, is because he would help us in this season's title push more than Doku would. And if you disagree with me, that's fine. Okay. We may never know.
Well, however, who does Jarrod Bowen come in for out of that current front 4 players now?
Salah or Mane. He plays on either wing.
So which game? So you're telling me that Doku doesn't come in and replace any of them front 4, but you're telling me that Jarrod Bowen could replace Salah in games?
I definitely think he can, 100%.
But why would Jarrod Bowen come from playing every single week for West Ham to come into sitting on our bench and getting 20 games?
Why would Doku do the same thing? Doku is in much bigger minutes.
Because Doku's 19, Jarrod Bowen's off the back of the best season of his professional career. Why would he then go and sit on a bench when he's about to play in Europe? It may only be the Europa League, but still the world stage. He is playing on the world stage against some of Europe's best athletes. So why would he come and sit on our bench?
But why would Doku do the same thing? Because
he's coming from France and he's so young.
And he's coming to Liverpool.
I have to agree with Matty. I'm sorry, Jack.
No, it's fine if you disagree with me. This is a completely hypothetical debate. So I encourage you to disagree with me. Have different takes. Let us know in the comments. It's almost overwhelmingly against me, and I love that. I love having to fight off people. Doku as a project or Bowen as a more mediocre backup signing.
Don't you think if we were going to buy Jarrod Bowen, we would have bought him already? Because
I agree. I agree with
homegrown spot.
I agree with you on that. I do. But maybe it's a squad size issue because we still had 25 players, senior players. So we still had to sell a player, even if it was a non-Englishman for an Englishman. We still had 25 out of 25 players. So, and actually, okay, my counterpoint to that: Doku doesn't need to be registered. He's under 20.
Exactly. But
so why didn't we sign him already?
Because he's been injured, so we couldn't pass a medical.
Yes, I have someone with me.
I've never once disagreed with Bowen's potential as a player. I think he's a good player. I just don't think he improves Liverpool. I think Jarrod Bowen's at his level. with West Ham. I think that is his level. Like a team who's getting Europa, probably a Spurs is the best side for Jarrod Bowen. Someone who's getting like Champions League or Europa League every single season. But he's not coming into a team and winning the league.
I think he could as a backup option. As a starting option, no, he cannot win the league. But as the fifth choice forward, he can, I think, in Liverpool. I think Bowen being his backup would be I agree with. This is kind of what I'm saying is Bowen would help us with our title push this season by not being as reliant on Salah and Mane. Doku, I don't want to thrust that responsibility on him. Could he do it? 100%. But there's a lot more uncertainty because he's younger.
And the money involved with Jarrod Bowen as well. Like
it's less than Doku.
Jarrod Bowen with English tax is going to be 40 mil. Easy.
He
bought him for 35 million last summer.
No, the reported fee was 35 million because they bought him for 28 mil last summer.
Then they aren't going to make £7 million profit on him when they're going to have to then go and sign a replacement when you've got European games this year. No way. The West Ham owners are like, no, there's absolutely no chance they're selling Jarrod Bowen for just a £7 million profit. No way.
I want to bring someone up. Mohamed Salah from Roma, Sadio Mane from Southampton, Diogo Jota from Wolves, Virgil van Dijk from Southampton.
I get his point. Liverpool, I completely agree. I've always said we should have strengthened from a position of power. When we won the Champions League, when we won the Premier League, we should have strengthened massively. I think what he's getting at is we should be looking at players like your Haaland, your Mbappe's. Well, Liverpool, we are the most successful club in England, and we're talking about Jarrod Bowen.
Matty. We did though. We pushed our wage bill up to second highest in the league to keep that.
I don't care about wages. We should have been paying these people decent money anyway. Every single player who signed a contract extension deserves that money.
But Matty, with signing all those new players to contracts, we pushed we didn't make hundreds of millions of pounds. We had at most £40 million to spend on a player in that after winning the Premier League. More than we could have. Should we have done that?
Maybe 100 mil for winning the Prem.
Matty, I'm telling you about the financial books. These are facts, financial statements. We made £40 million profit on what we did. If you disagree with that, that's just what happened.
No, okay, but then there's ways around it. That's why Man City were able to. Well, Man City can't fill the stadium, and they've just bought Jack Grealish for 100 million to add to the £1 billion squad they've got. There is 100 million% ways around it. Like, literally, you can go on the Manchester City website now and buy a season ticket. And I know that because someone I work with done it last week. But they've just won the league and he could buy a season ticket the day before the first game of the season.
Matty, do you want to be a Man City?
No, I'd never go to Man City. But that's what I'm with Liverpool. There is ways around it to buy these players. Just because we made £40 million profit doesn't mean that that's all we can buy. Like, there's ways around it, 100% ways around it. That's how do you think PSG have currently got Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe in the same team? Because it's all fiddled. So why can't Liverpool fiddle the books? We've just got to accept FSG have not once put a penny into Liverpool and never will put a penny into Liverpool. So
and they don't take a penny out. They don't take a penny out.
They don't take a penny out, but they still should be putting money in if they want to progress. FSG have got Liverpool to where they need to be. The next step for Liverpool now is if they aren't going to put the money in, we need owners who will.
Matty, here, let me ask you a question then. Does Liverpool have the best squad in the world?
No. Let's be realistic. We don't.
But is it top 3 in the world?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
So my argument would be maintaining that. Is that not the sign of a team that is keeping it at its best? Because I think you have to look at it as, what do you want from this Liverpool team, right? Do you want us to flame out in 2 or 3 years? Because how many teams can sustain that many superstar players at one time? Look at the Barcelona teams. I'm reading a really great book.
Well, growing up, every team who I watched, like, other than Liverpool, like every time in the Premier League, it felt like United kept hold of everyone, Arsenal kept hold of everyone, Barcelona kept hold of everyone they wanted, Chelsea always kept hold of everyone they wanted.
This is a tremendous book. Someone who's a really young football fan, I'm really enjoying it. From it's Zonal Market from Michael Cox. It talks about development of tactics in Europe. Talks about the Ajax and Barcelona teams and the problem of egos. They had it was like Romario, Laudrup, Stoichkov, another player in that Barcelona team that won the Champions League was under Cruyff. But they in 2 or 3 seasons always flamed out because Just egos were a problem. So this team, I think what we're setting ourselves up for is many years of prolonged success. Now, the trade-off there is that we don't sign the big names immediately. We sign the small ones. Well, I agree Doku would be fitting of that. But the reason why we are such a big side now is because we signed these players, built them up into something, and then kept them around, being the final destination.
There is egos in that Liverpool squad. Jurgen Klopp's just a fantastic manager.
Oh, yeah, 100% there is.
Control.
But he can only do so much.
I think it's a balance. I think it's a balance, though. I think we have our way of scouting. We have our analytics systems and teams, whatever. We have Jurgen Klopp and his system and how it's a collective and we press together and we, everyone scores, fullbacks get forward. But also, as Matty said and as people in the comments said, we are Liverpool Football Club. We are the most successful club in the history of England. We should be looking at these generational talents, when they're possible or available for us to look at financially.
I'm being honest, though.
I think it's a balance, though. Like if you can get a Haaland, you have to consider it as Liverpool.
Of course.
But also that doesn't mean you sell your soul and turn into Barcelona financially or something like that, right? I think there's a balance there.
I'm gonna point something out here. They're sustaining success by signing everyone to a new contract.
No, don't get me wrong, Jack. Right, I am made up to see our best players sign long-term contracts.
Look, I'm not saying we should do that at the expense of new signings, but if you're arguing they aren't sustaining success, let's do what they're doing.
No,
contracts.
However, now it's amazing seeing them sign new contracts because growing up, I seen Liverpool lose Xavi Alonso, Mascherano, Torres, Suarez, all because of those better deals elsewhere. However, also growing up, I seen Sir Alex Ferguson keep all his best players at Manchester United whilst strengthening every single year.
But they were chopping and changing several players every year.
Every single year. Fergie kept his core players long term. Arsene Wenger kept his core players long term, but they still improved every year. And that's what FSG needs to do for Liverpool. They need to improve us every single year, and they're not doing that. So owners who would come in and give you not a big name signing, so to speak, just a signing who keeps everyone hungry. Do I think Andy Robertson's going to have the season of his life because Costas has been unbelievable in pre-season? Yeah. But that's what Alex Ferguson said it once, that he always added players because it kept all the other existing players hungry.
I agree.
And that's what we aren't doing. So that's what FSG needs to do, is strengthen the club. I know we brought José and Thiago last year. I've just seen a comment. But this year, where you're saying, my point is, you're saying we've extended contracts, that's good. Yeah, it's good, but we still should be strengthening.
I agree 100%. But my issue is with the Mbappe. Let me phrase this very carefully because my Mbappe takes have gotten some interesting reactions. In comparison to the market, he's worth 160 million euros. However, football players as a financial asset are not worth 160 million euros. Just look at the history of players worth excess of 100 million. Eden Hazard, flop. Philippe Coutinho, flop. Antoine Griezmann, flop. Ousmane Dembele, flop.
I don't think Griezmann's been a pure flop.
Griezmann, okay.
He had a good season last year.
Not worth anymore. You're right. Griezmann was not a flop. Neymar, I think, is the only one you could argue that has not let down his valuation. And that's one out of however many have happened. Mbappe is the other one. Sorry. That was a very good signing by them because they're going to make that money back. So I don't think that's worthwhile, in my opinion.
But it's not the price tag sometimes swallows the player up. But Kylian Mbappe knows that he's a superstar. That price tag's not swallowing him up. You could argue the price tag didn't swallow Neymar up. He's been phenomenal at PSG. I mean, it's an average league, but he's been phenomenal there. But I just, if FSG don't go in for Mbappe, I don't think Mbappe is probably realistic. He's probably going to go to Real Madrid. But what I want to see is Liverpool actively going for him because it makes so much sense to get him. It makes perfect sense from a financial point of view, from a point of view where you could sell him in a few years. It just makes so much sense. We've admired him since before he went to PSG. So
look, I agree with you.
Going in for him.
I agree with you that it makes sense in everything except for the financial sense. That's where it makes zero sense because you have to sell. But look. You're selling Salah if you want Mbappe. You're selling
Pogba with shared sales.
They just didn't. Fundamentally, if you think that we're making 160 million euros from shirt sales, you're just wrong. You know,
Easily.
we're not. Show me that data that suggests that we could do that.
Well, how many fans have Liverpool got worldwide? And you're
How
telling
many
me
of them? How many of them are going to buy a Liverpool authenticated $100, £100 jersey
Well,
with
let's be
Mbappe
serious.
on the back?
The third shirt hasn't came out yet. So even if everyone had the first and second shirt and we went and bought Mbappe, you're telling me that 99% of them third shirt sales won't have Mbappe on the back of it.
Oh, I don't disagree. But the thing is, you know, like from a marketing point of view, you say we're a huge club. Again, how much more does that push our revenues upwards, considering how high they already are?
Having someone like Kylian Mbappe in your team boosts your revenues massively.
If Arsenal signed Mbappe, their room to make money on him for shirt sales is way higher than ours is because we are a bigger club.
Why would Nike let their golden boy go to an Adidas club?
They don't make decisions like that. They just don't.
They probably pay him a hell of a lot in sponsorships, and Nike would then come in on the deal to then make sure he stays with a Nike shirt.
I think you're
Mbappe is key to Nike's branding. Key,
and he won't leave them if he goes to Adidas. You know,
I'm not saying he won't, but they aren't going to want him sharing Adidas kits every.
Mane is in New Balance hats still. I saw one last week.
We're talking about Mbappe.
I think in terms of the brand elevation he would give us, I mean, think of like how our social media accounts, how much they would grow. Ticket prices would probably be higher just inherently from having him in the squad. They wouldn't be.
No, I don't think
they would be.
Go up.
I think gradually they would.
What sponsor looks at Liverpool and says, "I'm not interested in that," but they have Mbappe and no Salah. Now I'm interested in that.
But it's also the bidding. It's the bidding of the pricing for like
look at the figures. The best way to compare the figures is Messi to PSG.
Well, PSG, look at where they're at right now. They're irrelevant. Are we relevant, Matty? Yes or no?
PSG are probably one of the biggest fashion brands in the world.
Fashion,
and then
not football.
Yeah, maybe not football, but then they doubled or tripled their social media following just signing Messi.
Social media, yeah.
Yeah, so then with a bigger social media following,
Mbappe ain't Messi.
No, but a bigger social media following then means you can charge more for brands. It's just fundamentals of business.
But Matty, what business is not interested in Liverpool?
It's about the bidding though, right? Because if like someone bids to be, it's like Standard Chartered bids to be on the front of our kit. Or there's some sort of agreement or deal in place. I don't know the details. And if there's another brand that also wants to be involved with Liverpool, regardless of Mbappe, that just brings the price higher. It has to. There's no way.
We just signed a new kit deal, so that bidding isn't changing. We're not going to sell the rights to the stadium.
No, but like the boards in the stadium, the
trading ground's already sold. I mean, that's not changing with Mbappe. That's going down if we trade Mbappe.
You can charge more money because you've got someone like that within the team.
I think it elevates the status of the team, even for a club as historic as Liverpool.
Let's be honest with ourselves, okay? Are Mbappe and Salah playing in the same team? If you're serious, if you genuinely are arguing for Mbappe to be signed, it's at the expense of Salah.
No, it's not.
I think tactics-wise, he could play with him. I think tactics-wise.
I'm saying Liverpool, considering they made
because Mbappe came out and said that
Liverpool made £100 million loss last season. Now they're going to go try and sign a player for 160 million euros and not sell a player.
No, but Mbappe came out and said that he wants to play on the left. So why would you sell Salah, who plays on the right, to replace Mane?
That's the only asset that could cover the expenses.
No, but Sadio Mane's £100 million player.
Who are you selling him to? Who was the buyer for that? For a 30-year-old Sadio Mane?
I think
buyers out there for everyone.
I think pre-COVID market with Mane's levels in 2019, 2020, 2018, he was 80 to 100 million pound.
Yeah, but player. Again, who is
and he could get back there potentially. I think with the market keeps improving, if fans are back in stadiums, if he has another, 15, 20 goal campaign in the Premier League, not at this second, he might not be there. But
you're not. But by arguing that, how are you selling him for more now? I mean, I just don't understand the.
How are you selling him for more now? Because he's won the Premier League, the Champions League, and the Club World Cup.
Yeah, but last season he was crap. This team was crap.
Yeah, but who else?
Everyone was crap.
Yeah,
besides Salah.
West Ham finished in European places last year because of COVID.
Yeah, and then that's why everyone's price went down.
This is what Craig's saying. Like,
No, I mean Messi and Mbappe, or actually Messi and Ronaldo are higher, just out of the bat.
Messi, yeah, but Ronaldo, arguably,
Okay.
yeah, as well.
All
But they are also going to be gone in the next 5 years, and Mbappe is going to be hitting his peak. So
All right.
marketability and Mbappe makes perfect sense. It's not going to happen, but if FSG aren't actively trying to get Kylian Mbappe, then they shouldn't be owning Liverpool Football Club.
Let me give you
If
some facts.
Mbappe's on the market, Liverpool should be in for him. We should be.
Guess how many? Who has more social media followers, Mbappe or Salah?
Probably Mo Salah, because Mo Salah's got the whole of Egypt behind him.
15 million for Salah, 6.5 million for Mbappe. We're talking about twice as big. Most marketable player. You have the most marketable player already at right wing, Salah.
But in terms of, like what Chedu said before, the only reason Kylian Mbappe is 160 million this window is because he's got a year left in his contract. So
yeah, I don't disagree.
That's what I'm saying. If FSG are not in the market for Mbappe, it's not going to happen. But if they aren't actively bidding for him, then they have no right to own this football club, because Liverpool should be in for all the biggest players. Klopp has always said Liverpool are always in the market if the player and the price is right. Now, Kylian Mbappe for 160 million is right.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't understand how. Someone explained to me, 57 million on Instagram. How many does Salah have on Instagram?
That's what the main thing is now. Instagram, my friends, all about posting the life. Probably a lot less than 57 million.
57 million. All right, let's see this. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. That's fine. But Twitter is no small kitty,
Someone's just said 43.5.
All right,
Instagram's the biggest platform for social media now.
My bad. All right, he's got 57 million. He's got 43.5 million. My bad. That difference of 14 million on Instagram
is marketable.
Yeah, and he's so young, man. He's 22. He's won the World Cup. He starred in that World Cup run in 2018. He wasn't just on the bench or like a squad player. Like, he was arguably the star of that team. He's got to a Champions League final.
Guys, I'm making every single one of my debates based on the fact that Liverpool are run as a business, and a business cannot spend more money than it makes. It needs to make enough money to sign Mbappe. Who are you selling?
But that's a long-term investment. That
doesn't matter.
Even if you sell them for 50 million down the road, shirt sales year to year, the eventual transfer fee.
Okay, that's like, Jared, you go in to buy a house. All right, you're buying it for 100 grand. You're saying, I'll sell it for 120 in the future. I don't have the money now, but I'll do it in the future. That's not how it works.
Well, no, of course, like we would need that to have the fee together.
What's the bridge to get the fee now?
Well, maybe I don't know
a housing loan, probably.
It is.
No, but I don't know our exact financial situation.
Can you pay it back over 35 years?
Sorry, say that again, Matty, you froze for me.
Yeah, go ahead. He said a house you pay back over 35 years. And I get what he means. Like, this, it's different. It's kind of apples to oranges, but
you understand the point I'm making, right?
But I want to also say, I think there's so many rumors that get thrown around about football transfers, financial situations. Like, just because word on the street is Liverpool can't make a massive signing, that doesn't mean that strings couldn't be pulled to make a signing like this. Even if we didn't turn a massive profit last year because of COVID, like, it's a massive investment. That would be an incredible investment for the clubs. The marketability, the viability of the brand, like, it would be crazy.
You know what? Here's the best way to do it.
With Mbappe as well, Jack, it's not just 160. Wait one sec. It's not just 160 million now. We'll probably pay PSG about, if we've made 40 million pound profits, we might give them 40 million pounds as a down payment, and then we'll pay more next year.
Let's take a look at some of the. If you want to argue, yes, the X's and O's on financial statements, let's take a look at the financial statements. All right, I have them up. This has turned into a tremendous stream.
They're not. Liverpool, though, aren't a limited company, so they don't have to declare all the finances publicly.
Yes, they do. This is their literal public statement. They can't lie with this. The shareholders.
I didn't know. Okay.
So, matchday revenue was down 14 million. Our commercial revenue was up. Big brand. Our administrative expenses were slightly up, even though there were less matches. Our profit on players was down about 20 million. And our general loss was 46 million. We made 41 million the year prior. That's an 80 million pound swing.
But that's because of COVID. That's what I'm saying. Liverpool will not pay 160. If we was to get Mbappe, it's not going to happen. But if we was, we're not going to give PSG 160 million this summer. No, but we've just finished paying off. I'm sure we've just finished paying off Alisson or Van Dijk, one of them, last season or this season. That's where a lot of them fees come from, because a lot of our players, when we buy them, are bought on installments. So I think now there's a football finance analyst. He was being on our Twitter Spaces a few times, and Mo Chatra, and I've listened to a few of his podcasts, and he said that pretty much now is the only time where Liverpool, I think we've got Jota maybe, where we've still got installments left on, but all of our big players are paid off. So we could then go and buy another big name where you put a down payment down and you're paying it for 5 or so years. And it does happen like that. That's how businesses work. That's how buying a house works. Like what you said before, doesn't it? It does, because they're lending you that money. So Liverpool would have an agreement with, say, PSG for Haaland, for Mbappe, or Dortmund for Haaland.
Really quick, there needs to be something to explain about this Coutinho thing. We are not waiting for the Coutinho money. We sold the future installments to a bank, and they took a small cut. That's just how still waiting.
No, we are still waiting.
We're waiting on maybe an appearance fee, yes, but it's look. We're not debating if they're in the market for Mbappe. We're debating should they be in the market for Mbappe. It's a question of should. But the fact of the matter is,
which we should, because if we aren't in the market for Mbappe,
this is why we aren't.
We've got the wrong. No, but we've got the wrong owners.
That's not this. This number does not change.
Yeah, but Jack, them numbers, right? If you had owners who invested into the squad, them numbers would still probably look like that. Because how on earth are Manchester City got £1 billion squad when they can't fill the stadium? That's what I'm saying. FSG shouldn't. If Liverpool want to be in the market for your Mbappes and your Haalands, FSG are not the owners that we need, because they won't put money into the team.
Red, what am I doing? I'm looking at a financial statement to my left, talking to other Liverpool fans. If you think the problem lies here, you're just being an idiot. Be mad at FSG, not at me. These are facts. If you're upset about these facts, I'm sorry.
But you can fix your numbers. That's what I'm saying.
Also, Madrid. I think Madrid turned a profit of 500K last year, which it was incredible that they turned a profit during the COVID, empty stadium season. But that being said, it's not. I don't think it's as simple as. And they didn't sell 160 million worth of players, obviously, the past few off seasons, unless I'm mistaken.
Madrid.
So I don't think it's as simple as
Madrid literally have sold $200 million worth of players in the last windows and bought nothing.
But you don't know them fees guaranteed. No one knows the fees.
Well, they bought Alaba. They bought David.
Matty, I'm looking at these numbers right here, dude. These are just facts.
Jack, you're telling me that accountants can't fudge numbers, because they can. How? That's like I keep going back to. Manchester City have got a £1 billion squad, and they can't fill the stadium.
Matty, our owners are American. They have to follow by the SEC, which
they should. That's what I'm saying. Is if Liverpool want to be next level, we can't have FSG. It's just facts.
Okay,
if we want to be in the market for all these players, FSG need to go. That's my point.
Okay,
so
hang on.
You're pulling up the financial statements. That's all well and good. But Liverpool will never progress under FSG's past what we are now. Jurgen Klopp has surpassed anything with Liverpool. He's surpassed what should have happened, because them owners have not put a penny of their own money in. Other owners are. That's where Liverpool are lacking.
This was last season's Madrid income. They spent 0. They made 110.
No, that's not profit, though.
That's profit.
No.
They got players back on loan, and they sold Hakimi, Reguilon, Rodriguez, Javi Sanchez. And
but that's not their overall profit as a business.
And I'm not saying that. But what you're saying, and then let's take a look at this year's. Which
you're telling me a free to access website knows them figures bang on. They don't.
I'm not saying that, but Matty, they've spent 0 in transfers, and they've made, all right, let's cut it in half. They've made $100 million in transfers and spent 0. What have we done?
No, they bought Olive. Oh, it was free. Okay.
Completely agree with this comment. Completely agree. We've surpassed what we should have done under FSG because of Klopp. And now, because of Klopp, Liverpool need bigger owners to make the next step again.
But Matty, if you want to be an oil-owned club That's not
I'm
Liverpool.
not saying oil-owned club. There's billionaires.
Who has the money to do that then?
I don't know, because I don't know everyone's finances, and we don't either.
But Matty, you're talking about you need someone who can make up this £50 million difference. On top of that, sign a player for £100 million and increase your wages and keep Mbappe or keep Salah, I should say.
Yeah, but also the Madrid page that you pulled up, that's just their transfer incoming.
No, I agree. But
like they are 500 or 600 million in debt from the last I heard, which is less than.
This is my point that I completely agree with Hashim.
There's
Liverpool, yeah, but Liverpool's owners are not investing, so that's what I'm saying. Liverpool Football Club should be in the market for Kylian Mbappe, and the fact that we're not is frightening.
Net bank debt has increased by £35 million. They're taking out these loans to try and increase. You know what they're doing? They're adding, 3,000 seats?
Jack,
no.
The intercompany debt decreased.
But them numbers, how do you can fudge numbers?
No, they can't, Matty. They cannot. It's illegal for them to do that.
Okay. If it's how on earth has Manchester City got £1 billion squad with a stadium that can't be filled if you can't fudge numbers, Jack?
Because they've been breaking the rules, Matty. If your argument,
we know they've been breaking the rules, but they've also been found not guilty of it. So technically speaking,
Matty, your argument against these numbers is that Liverpool are running fraud against their shareholders by lying on this report. Yeah, I agree. I'm not disagreeing.
I don't think this report is like the be all end all of the club's potential spending.
Here, okay. Let me
because
also
clearly, like Barca are $1 billion in debt, and they still bought. Some of them were free, but they bought many players this window, and that's why they ultimately lost Messi. So I don't think it's as simple as like the pure revenue or profit of the business for 1 year.
I'm not arguing that.
You're reading far too much into that, yeah.
Matty, you're arguing about Erling Haaland's father being upset about things. I'm pulling up financial statements. This is a far better metric to measure things by.
But them financial statements are always going to be all over the place because of
course they are.
COVID. If you listen to honest to God, Mo Chatra is one of the best people you can listen to for Liverpool finances. Any podcast he's on is out of this world, and he's saying Liverpool are fine for finances. Now, this is a man whose job is to do that. And he's saying we are completely in a fine position. So these reports,
Matty, what does fine mean to you financially? Does that mean you have millions in the bank? Or does that mean you're making profit?
Liverpool are probably one of the only clubs in the league not in debt.
Yeah, they are. That's because they've been run very well, because they look at a loss of 46 million and don't respond to that and say, let's go spend more. Liverpool's wage bill has gone up on top of all this.
And this as well, this Redbird one. That's what's funded all this. So don't forget that investment hasn't been put onto them accounts yet. The fans coming back into the stadium haven't been put onto them accounts yet.
Yeah, I agree. Look, Liverpool's are not going to have a £46 million loss this season. But the reason that's going to be the case is because they did not sign someone for a crazy amount of money. Even Saul would be pushing this number.
But okay, let me ask you a question. Do Liverpool need new owners?
No, I don't think they do.
To take the next step.
They have re-signed every single one of their players, and the window isn't even closed yet.
But I didn't know that you needed a transfer window to be open to renew contracts.
What do you mean?
What? Wait, you keep saying we've renewed the contracts. You can do that in the season, but Liverpool are doing it like we've announced new signings, and we've just renewed contracts that we could have done in February, March, April. Like, you can do contracts whenever.
Sure.
The reason FSG are doing them all in the transfer window is because Liverpool fans is right Van Dijk signed a new contract, is right Robbo signed a new contract, and you're forgetting the be all and end all. We still haven't bloody signed anyone apart from Canate, who was done months and months and months before the window even opened.
Yeah. Look, this is what I agree with RJ. This is my fundamental point. FSG. I'm sorry that your head's getting crushed, Jared. I apologize for that.
No, you're good.
They've managed to increase Liverpool at a significant rate. Liverpool are able to sign these players to big new contracts, and I agree that the contracts are timed for a very specific reason, which is I completely agree that there are smoke screens. I'm not trying to be FSG defenders. I'm just trying to be realistic, and that if realistic is defending FSG, then so be it, But
if I would have said to you at the start of this window, we're only going to get Canate and we're going to lose Shaqiri, out of this squad, would
a
you
bad
say
window.
you'd be happy?
Mangini.
No.
Bad
But you
window.
keep, but you keep saying we've signed these players, though we've renewed these players, though we've renewed these players, though. I expect us to renew them, but why then? Why has it all been announced in January?
I'm framing this within the knowledge that Liverpool have financial constraints and that
But that's 1 year's loss.
this is 1 year's loss, but it was an £80 million decrease in the year prior, you know?
No, of course, and that has to be obviously that's taken into account. But I don't think one financial sheet that shows a loss 1 year can show that we are like in large financial debt
No, I'm never arguing that. My argument is that we're not going to sign a player because we have to be cautious of finances.
This comment here is right because it's happened to Liverpool before.
But
so often, even in my lifetime, we fell behind because we haven't invested. So you sat there saying we can't invest because financially we need new owners. Then clearly,
Matty, I agree. Not with the owner's part. I agree that we need to invest. But I'm telling you, if your idea of investment is Mbappe, you have a.
I'm not. No, it's not Mbappe. What I'm saying is Liverpool, a club like Liverpool Football Club, who have recently won the Premier League, recently won the Champions League, recently been fucking champions of everything, and not in for Kylian Mbappe. That's worrying.
Matty, this was the profit after winning the Champions League. Then we went and signed everyone to a new contract. Then we won the Prem.
But the new contract should be standard.
Matty, they are standard because that's where we're spending the money on the contracts.
But we're not spending that much more money. Virgil van Dijk's at Virgil van Dijk's at a £40,000 increase a week. So people are saying we've just signed Van Dijk on a 240 grand a week contract. He was on 200 grand a week for the last 3 years. So it's only 40 grand extra. It's not 240 grand. It's 40 grand.
No. Yeah, I don't disagree, Matty, but you don't have those numbers in front of you. So how can you make that argument?
It's rumored figures. That's what I'm saying. But Van Dijk was on 200 and he signed. Now he's on 240. So he's went up 40. The biggest increases are rumored to be Trent, who was on 60. Now he's on 180. So that's 120 grand. Fair enough. However, people keep saying, we remember when we were Liverpool with James Pearson that came out and said, if Liverpool make top four, it means the window's going to be decent. Now we're sat here with Canate going, we've signed all these new contracts in January as a smokescreen. It's not good enough.
I agree, Matty, completely. But I am always pessimistic because I know that Liverpool are never going to are never going to put their own money in. FSG are not going to put their own money in to try and get past this point, you know? And I pulling up. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to take that down. Pulling up James Pierce things. He's just an idiot. I'm not sorry. He's not an idiot. He just takes what he's given and posts it as any journalist would. His information though is always going to be leaning towards FSG. I'm going to pull down this for now because I want to pull up Liverpool's transfers really quick. And then I promise you guys we will leave. I'm sure this has been probably a bit of a painful debate with me, but I appreciate you guys and your time.
I feel like you rolled. You're the devil's advocate today, man.
I am, dude. I'm totally FSG.
You're hyped up, man. You're hyped up today.
I really am FSG. I'm a big fan of them personally.
FSG, right? What they've done for this football club, I'll forever be thankful to them for. They've given us one of the best training grounds in world football. They've expanded Anfield. They've brought us Jurgen Klopp. Do you know what I mean? They've given us signings like Alisson and Van Dijk. They have revolutionised Liverpool. They've put them back where they belong. But FSG are not prepared to make that next step now. That's my argument. FSG have been good owners getting Liverpool back on the pitch. Now, for Liverpool to stay on that pitch, we need owners who are prepared to invest, and FSG are not that. I'm not saying they've been bad owners over the past how many years they've been 7, 8 years. I'm not saying they've been bad owners because they haven't. They've been fantastic owners. They've got us to where we need to be, but they're not going to let Liverpool continue where they are. Liverpool will fall off if FSG stay in charge because once Jurgen Klopp goes, it'll be a different story.
All right, let's take a look really quick at Liverpool's transfer spend. We'll start right after the Champions League win. Let me add this in really quick. So we brought in Minamino in January. Was that January, like after the Champions League or before the Champions League?
That was after, I believe.
Right. And so the overall numbers. Here, really quick.
Feels like it, Jack. Feels like it.
This, I agree, was a bit shambolic. This $40 million profit that they made on transfers. There's something else should have been done. Losing Ings, Kent, Mignolet was really good sales, really good numbers. But it more should have been spent.
But still FSG.
Go do something else with your evening, Altaf.
No, I agree, because you're trying to justify FSG staying, and
I'm trying to bring up.
I think we went a little off the rails today. I would agree. We went a little off the rails.
But hey, most valuable player in the world. Those two right there.
Yeah, exactly.
And Kimmich. Wow.
But come on, Jack. We'll pull this off the screen now.
Oh, what is this? What is this? I'm trying to bring up facts.
But it's just FSG. Now it's time. It is time for them to depart. If Liverpool want to be the next level, it is.
Yeah, the debate has been okay.
I'm torn on that. I mean, I think the European Super League thing was what pushed me over the edge in terms of wanting them out. But I think in terms of the way they manage the club financially, they are very responsible, and we're lucky that they are that way. But as you said, we might need bigger ownership to take us to like the City, Chelsea, PSG bracket. I agree with that.
Okay,
it's hard though, because you don't want to get someone who destroys the club financially too. It's a risk.
What the hell does this even mean?
It means the profit should be getting spent on the squad. Really?
But you said not facts. That's facts. Like, I don't know what's the definition of facts, where it's not numbers based. That's literally one of the only facts that exist in this sport of ours.
I'll give you a fact. FSG can go now.
That's not a fact, Matty.
It is a fact.
It's an opinion.
It is though, isn't it? If FSG stay in charge of Liverpool in 3 years, when Jurgen Klopp sadly goes on a sabbatical, where do Liverpool end up? Because I'm telling you now, if I still know you 2 years, 3 years down the line from that, when all our players who've been signed on new contracts are all 33, 34, and then they're all leaving, and Liverpool are going to be back where he was, mid-table, and it's sad. So we need owners to maintain where we are. That's just facts. Because FSG are not going to put the money into the club.
I agree.
This is a good point.
I think it's a risk. It's always a risk, because you could end up in Barcelona's situation where it's literally go ahead.
Sometimes I do argue for the sake of argument. Makes good content sometimes. I apologize if I drag the debate too far down into the beatings of FSG in or out. I agree that we should have spent more, but the main point I'm making is that we need to be cautious in our expectations of FSG, because it's like being upset about things that you understand just for the sake of being upset. That's what I'm not going to do. I understand FSG are not going to spend their own money, so that's why I'm not going to be upset at them for not doing it. That's my mentality on things. And so that's why when I look at those numbers, I see there's not a lot of money to spend, and that money is being spent on new contracts. So my opinions are based on the fact that we don't have much money. So what signings make sense?
I think it's absolute bollocks, to be honest, that you're saying we haven't got this money to spend when Man City is but this is why I'm saying we need new owners, because Man City is spunking £100 million on Jack Grealish and they can't even fill the stadium. Now, you can buy a season ticket for Man City tomorrow. Liverpool have got a 25-year waiting list. We're a much bigger club, so we're making a lot more money in commercial revenue than Man City are, but they can still go and spend £100 million on Grealish. So Liverpool need them owners who can go and invest in the squad. That's what we need. We have outgrown FSG. That's what I'm saying to you. They have been fantastic owners, but for Liverpool want to continue where they are, they're not the right owners, because their business model, it will not work in football. Football now is just gone mad, absolutely mad. Dominic Solanke went for 20-odd million pounds and he hadn't scored a goal. Same as Ryan Brewster. Football's just went mad and FSG can't keep up.
And I think there could be a reckoning too, because the difference between the haves and have-nots is getting so outrageous, and it's been exacerbated by COVID, I believe, and the market we're in now. It's kind of like the world at large, right? Like City, like clubs are in financial despair, struggling. They haven't been able to fill stadium or get people into stadiums for a year and a half. But City's spending $100 million Jack Grealish. PSG spent hundreds of millions this summer, right? So
I'm going to pull this down really quick, Matty.
I think there could be a reckoning.
This I agree with, but my opinion of what this platform is and what I do is not to give stick. It's to give my opinion and how I see things in the reality. So I'm not going to give stick. If you want to give stick, I completely understand your point of view. But the issue I have with Matty, and you want us to have new owners, the owners that would get us what we need would raise ethical questions that I don't think as Liverpool, we should be having.
Well, and that's my point. It's tricky. It's not as simple as like we would like owners who are the most ethical billionaires, if that's even that's kind of an oxymoron, but the most ethical billionaires, like fucking Jack from Twitter bought. Do
you even think
Liverpool.
John Henry is ethical though, Jarrod? Do you think?
Well, I don't. No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying like I guess there's a spectrum, right? So like Saudi-backed oil money or like a state-run club, there's a lot of unethical things that you could argue are behind that, right? So it's just really tough because it's like who's going to buy? Are they more ethical than FSG or less? Can they spend more money, or are they willing to spend more money than FSG or less? Will they be as financially responsible? I would love to see us bought by new ownership. I would take that risk. I agree with you, Matty, but it is a risk. It's not as simple as like it's hard to turn into like a city, and if you do, I wouldn't want to be a city. I don't know. It's complicated. It's so tough. It's like you don't want to be a city. You don't want to be PSG, right? They're plastic clubs, essentially. So
yeah. So I think that there's right here where we are is just a difference of opinion. I look at FSG and I see a club that has us in a title race, in my opinion, with Chelsea, Man City, and maybe Man United. Man United, an established team of hundreds of years who had success well into the 21st century. Man City and Chelsea, clubs who have bottomless pits of money from unethical owners. And us, who, without investing really a ton of our own money, have managed to pull ourselves up to the top. So I don't see why we can't continue to do that, in my opinion.
And also, John Henry's unethically tried to trademark the Liver Bird, which is a symbol of Liverpool. This man is one of the most unethical people probably out there as well. I don't think you'll probably meet a billionaire that isn't unethical. But doesn't it worry you? I spoke to a friend of mine who's a Red Sox fan. Now, I only know one Red Sox fan, so you'll probably know more, Jack, being American. But
I'm from Boston, so whatever you...
It feels as though when I spoke to him, he has the same frustrations we do with John Henry because, they won the World Series, but then they've just sort of dipped since then. And that's what it feels like could happen to Liverpool if we don't improve.
I agree. You know what? I don't disagree with a lot of the points you're making, but I'm not going to sit here and clamor about FSG out. I'm going to look at the realities of the situation and not moan about things.
I think if someone came in with a decent enough offer, then he'd sell us. He said from day one it was all about making money, and he bought us for 300 and something million. He's going to sell us for 2 billion. Now, whoever buys us for that amount of money is probably unethical, but I challenge you to find me an ethical billionaire.
Yeah, though that was I agree. It's very complex and it's hard. It's like we want to maintain our soul. That's what makes us Liverpool. I mean, Matty, I shouldn't be saying that to you. Like, you're from Liverpool. That's why I fell in love with the club. Like, it's the passion, it's the heart on our sleeve mentality. Like, it's a fine line. We want to invest, we want to compete, but we don't want to turn plastic or be. It's tough. It's tough.
And one thing I'd say about, like, everyone slags City's owners off, right? I'm not defending Manchester City by any stretch of the margin, but if you actually delve into what their owners have done for the city of Manchester and where Manchester City's built, they've proper revitalised it.
I agree.
How often has John Henry walked around this city and met any of the people of Liverpool? His wife maybe on Twitter, but you sat there saying he's ethical, but he's never come and interact with
them. I'm not saying he's ethical.
The minute John Henry went into the Super League, I wanted him out the club. I've never slagged them off until then. But he tried to sell my football club, basically.
Matty,
not just mine, all of our football clubs.
Matty, let me be very, very clear. I 100% agree with you that he is a terrible owner in terms of how he views the sport. But I agree with all these points from Hashim and you, but I'm not gonna slag him off for the financial side of things and for the European Super League, because I'm not just going to complain for the sake of complaining. He tried to get us into these leagues. It was an idiotic idea, and it was against the entire idea of the sport. But he tried to get Liverpool those signings. It was shot down, and he backed off.
Do you think he was going in our Super League though to buy Liverpool players or to just make more money for himself?
Make more money, but It would have been better for us if we were in the Super League. For us, not for everyone else.
It would have been better for John Henry's bank account.
It would have been better.
Let's get it straight.
Yeah,
Let's get it straight.
You're right in that.
Yeah.
We would have inferior football because there'd be no competition in the Prem, and
It would destroy the soul of football. It would have been the most. Yeah, it would have been horrific.
Exactly. I agree with this. Except with City. City, you're trying to sports wash their reputation in the Middle East by doing all these good things in Manchester. They're good things in Manchester, but they are off of the back of pretty bad things they've done where they're from. That's my problem with them. So this started as like a Xherdan Shaqiri's gone, what should we do, and turned into our longest non-walk along stream. Actually, I think this is only competing with the Super League debate. Maybe Madrid post-match.
Madrid post-match is the best one.
Let's have our final takes in the situation. Okay, wrap up how we view things. Matty, we've had a lot of different things we're talking about. What are you expecting for the last few weeks? FSG, just how are you feeling right now?
Honestly, I don't think we'll buy anyone. I really don't. And I honestly think that all the contract signings in January is what FSG think is the answer when they could have renewed them deals throughout the season. I think Liverpool's needs the next step. We need new owners, and FSG are just as unethical as any other owners out there. So, yeah.
Jared, your last thoughts on today's stream?
It's hard to sum everything up or get into every topic. I will say I think we'll make one kind of low-key signing, a rotation player, one or two, but probably just one. And I think we need to remember how good this squad is when it's fully firing. And I think, yes, we've only played 2 games against bad competition, arguably, but it's not just winning matches. It's the way you win. And the way our squad has looked has been like literally like we didn't miss a beat from 2019, 2020, 2018, 2019. So I think we are the best team in the league right now. And yes, I would like a signing or two, especially if there's injuries. But I think we have more depth than people realize, and I think we're gonna go on a tear. That's what I think.
So this stream is only second to reaction to European Super League announcement.
That's fair.
That one was 2 hours long. This one about 15 minutes short of that. I loved this stream, even when I had Altaf telling me to get out of the club. Even when I had that. This has been a tremendous stream.
This is fun.
And you know what? I love the disagreement that we can have about but one thing we cannot disagree about is that we all love this club. Matty,
I'm just really worried that Liverpool could end up being in mid-table again, like we was in them dark days. Not investing from a position in power is worrying.
In my opinion, I don't think with the core that we've re-signed, that's going to be an issue for the next 5 years.
I'll add, I think we need to capitalize on the momentum we've experienced the last few years, but I don't think that momentum is close to over because I do think we are going to be very dominant again this year. If what I've seen from our club and other clubs is anything to go off of. And you have to think, I mean, what if City has a few injuries? What if United aren't that cohesive yet? What if Chelsea has a few injuries? Like our 11, our 14, our first 14, if you will, are better than anyone in the league. I really think that. So anyway, sorry, I'm ranting.
You're good. And I think this is a good point from Hashim. Our core, generally 29 years old, we've built a core that I think is the exact same age. So if we stay under FSG, the next group that they're going to want to peak together will probably be around the same age, which is why I think Bowen will happen, because he's the same age of some of our players coming up. That's all I'm going to say on that. I think it'll happen because he's similar to Jota, where Matty, this may cover your ears, but a front three of Curtis Jones, Diogo Jota, and Jarrod Bowen.
Curtis Jones is a midfielder, and he couldn't play in the front three. That's just solid facts. Jarrod Bowen is terrible. Jarrod Bowen would never ever improve Liverpool, and I can't believe that you genuinely believe Jarrod Bowen will come and improve us. Like I'm lost for words that you think he'd improve us.
I had to get one last jab in about Bowen. I think I would love it to happen just so we could prove all you doubters wrong. That would be tremendous.
And my point was, what I was capping off is that, Matty, I agree with you. We have to capitalize on this momentum. But I think it's not too late, and it won't be in the winter or next summer, because I think we're good enough and deeper than people realize to maintain this momentum into into next summer as well. But I agree with you. We can't be stagnant forever.
Craig,
But-
you don't need
my
to
worry-
abuse Bowen. You don't need to
my
just
worry
call him
is-
a terrible player.
My worry is, Jared, that
Yeah.
in a year's time, 2 years' time, and all these players are 30, FSG aren't going to go out and buy 4 or 5 players in one window to improve the squad. So that's why I feel like we need to make improvements every year, in a sense of buy an attacker this year, go and get someone like Bellingham next year for the midfield, improve
Yeah.
slightly.
You can do it bit
every
by
year.
bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. But I think also keep in mind, we signed Van Dijk the winter of 2018, correct? And then that summer we signed Allison, Thiago as well, right? So like,
Allison and
or Fabinho, sorry, not Thiago,
Yeah.
Fabinho. That's what I meant. Allison and Fabinho. So like maybe we do make 3 signings in one summer, but I agree it has to be well planned and thought out and more gradual than buying 8 players in a window, of course. Anyway, we agree. We're saying the same thing basically. I think we're gonna do better this year than I think people forget how good we are when we're fully fit in Klopp's system with the personnel we have, the fullbacks, the depth in midfield, the finishing up front. Like we're deadly, and there's no team in the league that does that. Even if they have the star man like Lukaku or Grealish, De Bruyne, like I just don't think people can compete with us when we're firing.
I do think we'll win the league still. I really do. But I do also believe that Jurgen Klopp paints over all the FSG cracks. I think Jurgen Klopp could go and win the league with Everton.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I was able to get you all to agree with me that we're FSG in. We're excited for Jarrod Bowen to sign. I'm just kidding. So this is a tremendous stream, Matty. I was excited to do one with you because I know that sometimes these streams can get off the rails, but I'm glad to be the lightning rod for our back and forth.
No more Jarrod Bowen, no.
This has been a tremendous stream, and thank you to everyone for some tremendous engagement from on Twitter and YouTube. It's been usually one of them will fall off towards the end. This has been nearly 2 hours of just tremendous engagement. So all of you, thank you very much for engaging with the content. Make sure to follow us on all of our pages, especially YouTube. We have a very exciting, I'm going to give a little bit of a sneak preview for this. Next Wednesday, recording a Premier League draft. It's going to be a bit of a fire video. Get excited for that one. Subscribe to the channel. Post notifications on. Thank you to everyone for tuning in. We'll have a stream pretty soon. And you know what? It hopefully will be for the announcement of a new player. Thank you everyone for tuning in. For myself, Jack, for Matty, and for Jared. So a stream from the LFCTR.